Lieutenant Reed stared at the human cadet with a mixture of disbelief and horror. His 4 upper appendages trembled slightly as he reviewed the training data for the 5th time. The statistics couldn't be right. They simply couldn't. Computer, verify training completion metrics for Cadet Tom Parker, Reed commanded, his voice betraying his stress. His secondary breathing sacs inflated rapidly, a physiological response his species experienced during extreme anxiety. Verified, Lieutenant. Cadet Parker has completed all 7 training cycles with a performance rating of 94.7%. This exceeds previous records by 67.3%, the computer replied in its monotone voice. The training facility on Outpost Delta 9 had hosted thousands of species from across the Galactic Alliance, but humans were relatively new additions. When the Alliance had made first contact with Earth just 3 years ago, most council members had agreed to admit them on a probationary basis. Humans seemed primitive by galactic standards. Their technology was rudimentary, their political systems chaotic, and their biology unremarkable, or so everyone had thought. Reed remembered his own training cycle. Like most Trellin officers, he had required the standard 4 weeks to complete basic training protocols. The Volari needed 6 weeks, the massive Jurtek warriors needed 3, and even the highly intelligent Numians required at least 2 weeks. No species had ever completed the full regimen in a single week. It was biologically impossible given the recovery time needed between sessions. Yet here stood Cadet Parker, not even showing signs of fatigue. Would you like me to run the obstacle? Course again, sir, Parker asked, bouncing slightly on his toes. I think I can shave another 30 seconds off my time. Reed's primary mouth went dry. That won't be necessary, Cadet. The human looked disappointed. Actually disappointed that he couldn't run the punishing 50-kilometer course filled with gravity shifts, toxic atmosphere zones, and survival challenges for a 4th time today. Permission to speak freely, sir? Parker's expression was earnest. Reed nodded slowly, dreading what might come next. The other cadets, they seemed to be struggling. Maybe I could help them, show them some techniques? Reed nearly choked on his own respiratory fluid. The other cadets Parker referred to were elite specimens from their respective worlds. The idea that this human would help them was both absurd and terrifying. That won't be necessary, Reed managed to say. Report to medical for your evaluation. After Parker left, Reed immediately called an emergency meeting with the other training officers. It's not just the physical trials, Officer Vick said, her crystalline form glittering under the harsh lights of the conference room. Parker completed the advanced astrogation exam in 17 minutes. The previous record was 4 hours. The tactical simulations were even more concerning, added Commander Dorn, his thick, armored hide contracting nervously. He didn't just pass them. He found solutions nobody had considered before, solutions that our own tactical computers missed. Lieutenant Reed nodded grimly. What about the stress tests? Medical Officer Jai consulted her datapad. That's perhaps the most alarming part. Humans apparently have this ability they call adrenaline. When subjected to extreme stress or physical demands, their bodies produce chemicals that enhance their performance rather than degrading it. So the more we push them, Reed began, the stronger they get, Jai finished. At least temporarily, and their recovery time is remarkably short. What would put any of us in recovery tanks for days seems to require only a meal and some sleep for Parker. Commander Dorn leaned forward. There's more. During the survival exercise, Parker's body temperature dropped to levels that should have been fatal. Instead of shutting down, he entered some state he called shivering and continued functioning at near optimal levels. And in the heat chamber, Vix added, he did something called sweating that allowed him to regulate his temperature far longer than predicted. Reed felt a chill run down his central nerve column. So what exactly are we dealing with? Medical Officer Jai's expression was grim. A species that evolved on a death world, Earth's gravity, temperature variations, atmospheric toxins, and predator density should have prevented sapient life from evolving at all. Instead, it created them. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. 2 days later, Admiral Zorn arrived from Galactic Command. The highest-ranking Trellin in the sector rarely visited training facilities, but the reports about the human cadet had traveled up the chain of command with unprecedented speed. "Is this the one?" Zorn asked, studying Parker as the human stood, at perfect attention. "Yes, Admiral," Reed replied, though we've since learned he's actually somewhat average for his species. Admiral Zorn's eyes widened slightly. "Average?" "Yes, sir. Their military records indicate soldiers with significantly higher physical capabilities, though Parker's cognitive scores are in their upper percentile." Zorn circled Parker slowly. "And you say there are billions of them?" 8 billion at last. Count, sir, their population growth rate is concerning." Parker maintained his stance, though Reed could tell the human was listening intently. "At ease, Cadet," Zorn said finally. "I understand you've set some records here." Parker relaxed slightly. "Just doing my best, sir. The training has been excellent." And what did you think of our facilities?" Parker hesitated. "Permission to speak freely, Admiral?" "Granted." "The facilities are impressive, but the training regimens seem inefficient. With some adjustments, I believe you could increase graduation rates by at least 40%. Instead of being offended, Zorn seemed intrigued. "Is that so? And what adjustments would you recommend?" As Parker outlined his suggestions, methodical, insightful observations that Reed had to admit made sense, the Admiral's expression shifted from skepticism to something Reed had never seen before on a superior officer: fear. Later that evening, Admiral Zorn met privately with the training staff. "The recommendation will be to fast-track humans into the Alliance and integrate them immediately into our command structure," he announced. Commander Dorn looked alarmed. "Sir, with all due respect, we know very little about them." "Which is precisely why we need them with us rather than against us," Zorn replied grimly. "Their adaptability, endurance, and problem-solving abilities make them perfect soldiers. And if they're this effective in our training programs—" He didn't need to finish the thought. Everyone in the room understood the implications. "Prepare Cadet Parker for officer training," Zorn ordered, "and notify Earth's government that we're expanding the recruitment program immediately." As the meeting adjourned, Lieutenant Reed found himself wondering what the galaxy would look like in 100 years with humans spread throughout it. One thing was certain: it would never be the same again. The training officers who had once looked at humans with curiosity now regarded them with a newfound respect, tinged with primal fear. These weren't just new allies. They were the most terrifying species the galaxy had ever encountered, wrapped in unassuming packages of flesh and determination, and they were just getting started.